I mean, I can go on and on. I could literally spend the rest of the night talking about my accomplishments that's never on the news. It's never on the news. Let me jump in somebody's face or say one of my statements. It's all over. I am more than a sound bite. I have done productive work. You need a leader going to Washington right about now. We need leadership. We need someone who can bring a movement. Nobody, if anybody thinks that they're going to go to Washington, D.C., House of Representatives has 435 people, 42 blacks out of 435, 100 senators in the U.S. senators, no blacks. There are no blacks in the U.S. Senate in the United States of America in the 21st century. None. So you bring that together, you're talking about 535 members. If you think you're going to go there and think you're going to just shake that whole thing up without having the leadership skills of building movements, because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take a movement. We've gained nothing in this country without a movement. Most of us in this room don't know who was the House or Senate sponsor of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Most of us in this room don't know who was the House or sponsor in the Senate of the 1965 Voting Rights Act. You know why we don't know them? Is because Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and the Civil Rights Movement is what made those bills happen. And that's what we have to do now. Legislatively, you'll hear some people say, oh, he didn't pass any legislation. And that's a deep one, I think they got. The bottom line, you have to be smart. And you have to know what you're doing when you get into this.
Time for just a few questions? All right, so we'll open the floor up to questions from the audience. So does anyone have a question for Councilman Barron? No questions? Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Now I'll go to my next step.
Yes, sir.
Councilman, you talked about some of your accomplishments on the council. The council is controlled by the Democratic Party. Going to Washington, there is, unfortunately, the possibility the House will remain in Republican hands. You will be on the minority side. What do you see as the approach to getting things done if you are not in the majority in committees, chairman, etc.?
Well, first of all, don't assume because the council is Democratic that it's cool. Because the council, with the speaker acting like a deputy mayor, is passing budgets that hurt our people. So I was able to do some constructive things there. This is why I said you have to bring a movement to Washington. You can't bring an individual that has some interest people behind him and that they're going to get stuff for themselves, little programs. I plan on bringing a movement to Washington. The 99% to Washington, I want everybody in this room, we're going together.
Yes,
no one person is going to go in there and think that they're some intellectual and they're going to write some legislation and get it passed, a Republican-controlled Congress. But even if the Democrats control it, you got to worry about the blue dog, conservative Democrats. Because there was a time where the president was Democratic, the House was Democratic, and the Senate was Democratic, and still couldn't get stuff through because of the conservative Democrats. So I bring movement, I bring organization, I bring leadership. I'm going to get with the Congressional Black Caucus and the so-called Progressive Caucus and get those numbers together. And just as you work anywhere where you don't have the numbers, you have to bring in the masses to have impact and make a difference on budgets, policies, and laws.